Everyone, today I'm here to present a fantastic tool that will help you integrate natural language capability into any web systems. And this tool will revolutionize the way the user interact with web systems by using a new declarative approach, which will, instead of being clicking multiple links and trying to execute in order to execute a task, you basically write what you want to achieve, and the system will capture, understand your intent, and will automatically put in your screen everything that you need to know in order to execute that task. That will be a very revolutionary way of interactive web systems, and I will show you what I mean by that. Okay, so let's imagine that you are in Amazon and you want to add a new address to your account. How you do that? So you have no clue how to do that. So first thing, you need to go to the internet and search how to do that on this big website. So then you figure out that it's in your account. So you navigate through the users to the menu, find your account, then you will search for address. I know that it's already here, so you click on address, then you can add a new address or edit. So let's add a new address. Then you land on this form that you have to fill this form and then submit, right? So what we are proposing with this new way of interactive system is just declare what you want to achieve, and that will be done through a chat interface, as you can see here. And I have some prompts. I'm gonna just use a prompter here, but I will be able to just write what I want to do. In this case, I want to create a new address with the following information, right? And then submit. The system will understand what you mean by create a new address, and because I have already add this capability to this chat, and you'll just read every field, what you capture every field from your text and populate it properly, and they'll just go and proceed. And that on this case here, I'm setting up that you would redirect to the Amazon account, right? And you just add the new address and you'll be done. That's it. Just keep all the process of searching how to do things and navigating through all the menus and just executing the task, facilitating a lot the user experience in your system, especially on the complex system. That would be very nice. I want to give some more example. One thing that I did was I added some documentation regards how to interact with GitHub REST API, right? So, and I'm gonna show you here first I'm gonna list some documentation that are available on my current chat, right? So it's basic documentation. It's the source of all the commands that you can execute through the chat, right? So I'm gonna just click so you can see that I just asked to list all the docs that I have to a given app, which we call chat now. And this will go and trying to find documentation that fulfill this let's say this task. And you can see that the system found one documentation that says that to list docs you just need to call this API, right? So, and then the system, the engine, just identify this, get the parameters from the text and fulfill all the fields that would be required. In this case here, you just need the app key, which it is our chat here, and you just list this is all the documentation that you have in our database, which means each documentation is one task that's available in the chat now. Then I'll show you how to add new documentation, consequently new capability for the chat. Okay, I have added a demo which interact with the GitHub to list repository. So you can see it here, right? So this is the kind of documentation that I just copy from the GitHub REST API documentation and just place it here. And now I'm gonna start to interact with this system. So you can interact with multiple systems if you want, right? In this case, we first interact with Amazon. Now I'm gonna interact with GitHub. So I list my repositories, GitHub repository. Right, and you'll find that I have documentation here. So there is this step of searching on our database to see what documentation we have, and then we interact with the system itself. Then here Just proceed. It's loading all my repositories from GitHub, so you can see all my repository is here. And now it's returned as a list, but I actually want to build a chart from this. This information would be more relevant if I just say display as a chart with the following fields, right? And I will put here which fields I want. Let's say I want to use the field full name, right? And I want also the field fork count, what is forks second fork count, right? And just say, let's see if you understand. When you put this plus here, that means that you want to use the current context, right? And then you can see that here I'm displaying I'm building a chart from the result of the list that it's coming from GitHub, right? So in this case here, you can see that for each repository, you can see how many forks we have. So my most popular repository is this repository about Java microservices. The second one is gRPC for, oh no, the second one is actually this Lambda pipeline. And then there's gRPC for production written in Golang. Okay, how nice is that, right? So you can actually choose and just say how you want to present your data and how to interact with the system, and you can actually interact with multiple systems, right? As long as you kind of set up there. Something that I want to kind of show as well, that I can actually list my repositories. Just one more test here. List my repositories. I'm not even putting GitHub now because the only repository that I have, it is from GitHub, so I don't need to say GitHub, right? So this search is very smart. It is considering semantic, it's not by text, so don't worry need to write really exactly what you have in the database. No, definitely not. So I'm listing here all my repositories, but I actually want to list, I want to sort it by the field created, and I want in a descending, right? Let's see if it is, understand. So we have this functionality to show to the user what the system understanding. So in this case here, there is the sort field in the documentation, and you can choose which field you're going to use as the sorted, and you can pass the directions, which it is desk, right? So, and this way I just proceed, and then now I'm listing all my repositories sorted by this field. For example, the last repository that I'm working obviously is chat commander UI, and you can just interact and ask exactly what you want, and the system will understand, right? Only based on the documentation that we have added, right? So you can add your documentation here and interact with your system just based on the instruction that you have given as part of documentation. I'm gonna give you an example how to add a new documentation. That means a new command that you can be executing in your system. So I'm gonna ask to add a new documentation. So, right? And we'll see that there is a information how to add new documentation, and it's just calling this endpoint, right? But I don't need to call that. Obviously, I want to be easy and lazy and just do everything through my chat interface, right? So now I'm gonna add a new documentation, which will be I'm gonna just copy from this public GitHub REST API, right? I'm just copying it here, and I will paste it here. Then I will copy the whole documentation up to here and just add it here as my text, and the application would be, oh sorry, actually I need to create an application before. So we'll come back to this, but let's just create a new application first, and this application will be demo app, and will be demo app description, and that's it. So let's hit create in, and the system you will show the fields that we are populating. So identified, so app name, app description. I want to just proceed. That's it. A new application was created. I pressed twice the button here. So I'm just take the latest one, and I use on my documentation. Now I'm adding the create repository to this application. And it was added. Now I have a new create repository documentation. I'm gonna just set to the user session this application. So now everything that I'm gonna be doing would be using this app, client app, as the source of our interaction. So basically you have users, and users can have multiple applications. So in here, the example I gave, I have everything on the same application, but the correct is create an application for, let's say, Amazon, my first example, and then the second for GitHub. So then you have multiple application integration. I did everything on the same as the demo application, just for brevity. So yeah, set. So now we have the session set up for that. Now what I want to create, because I have added this new documentation, right? I can create a new repository, and there is few options for create repository. You can choose to be private or public. You can allow merge or not allow merge. So let's say allow rebase. I want I create a private repository, right? And I want to allow base. What was that? We don't need to write exactly, but I'm just to remember what was the. I think it's allow rebase commit, is it? Oh, allow squash merge. Let's copy this. And I want to allow squash merge. All right, let's see. So what I'm saying here, I say that I know I can create different repositories, private or public, and I know that you have this flag to allow squash merge or not, right? And that's it. Oh, I forgot to say the name, but it's know already that this new repository, to create new repository, we have this repository name, which it is required. So it brought it here, even though I didn't say, but I couldn't have just passed the name as part of my prompt, right? But yeah, let's just create this new repository, which will be just this here, and let's say demo. Yeah, so private and squash. I'm gonna say, yeah, that's it. So let's see how it goes. And was created successful, and you can see that the demo app and all the information that comes with the GitHub response. So that's it, guys. I hope you have understood the potential of this tool, and this can be a new paradigm. Like, this can revolutionize the way users interact with system. This can really definitely reduce the cost of training in those big systems, right? And very quick and see this thing. So from here, I don't need to wait forget the chart anymore. Everything to be here is ready to execute. I say, for example, if we want to add documentation, I already have it here available. Just add documentation, just because you already have this executed the commands, and the command will be available for you to just run straight and quick. I don't need to wait this time of being thinking what's the intent, because this understand the what you write and what you're giving, information you give, it takes some time. But once you have this already on your bookmark, so you'll be skipping those times as well. So it is very powerful, and I really encourage you to play with it, to add your documentation and add integration to your system. And yeah, have fun. Hope you guys has enjoyed, and see you for the next lecture.